Should the Thunder fire Billy Donovan? Will Rondo and Ingram start when they get back from suspensions? What's wrong with the Celtics offense? The only question left is, say it with me, you win. Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show / podcast. As always, I am joined by Dave DuFour at Dave DuFour NBA. So Dave, it's kind of tough to stay up late to watch both these games on TNT, huh?
Yeah, the Central Time Zone, contrary to what my friends have told me, is the worst. It's terrible. At least if I was on the East Coast, I'd have a complaint that people would understand and sympathize with. But Central Time Zone saying, "Oh, I got to stay up till like 12:30 at night to watch these games," is just way too late.
Yeah, and I feel like they used to start them at. Did it start at 7 today? The first game? Or
was it 7 or 8? I think it's 8
or 7:30. Only because
something
it feels like it
that
used to start early enough where the second game wasn't that late. But as it is, we have a lot to talk about. Now we are in the middle of a halftime of the second game, so people aren't streaming in here too much. But we want to answer any questions you might have, so throw them out there in the Periscope or the Twitter. In fact, there's a couple of Twitter questions we had that I quickly liked that I thought we can answer here first off the bat, just because we want to make our podcast for tomorrow, when it drops, or tonight, a little bit more NBA centric. So the first question asked by JM Bacala was, should the Thunder fire Donovan? What do you think?
I mean, is it a Donovan problem?
Is that a rhetorical question?
I mean, it's a real question, right? Different personnel, different coaches, similar results. I don't want to beat a dead horse. That's where I'm at on this. I mean, I really just don't want to beat a dead horse. But they had a nice lead, and it's hard not to put the blame on Russell Westbrook.
It is not hard. And in fact, I kind of tweeted it out that I said, maybe we should give him a pass because he's coming back from an injury and he might be rusty. But he had a fantastic game the night before, or the game before. And I don't think it was rust. What I saw just the bad decision making. It's a couple of terrible turnovers and some bad shots. And it was just like the body language is terrible too. It's like he almost felt like he's like, I've been in this situation before, and I generally don't do well, and this is going to happen again. I don't know what, because it's just so frustrating. They win a lot of games. They are very talented. They have a lot of athletic ability, so they're going to be competitive. But maybe at some point it's going to be Donovan who wants out. He doesn't want to even be there anymore, just because he doesn't seem to be able to get the offense he wants anyway. There's no way that what they're running on offense a lot of the time is what any coach would design.
Okay, you know what? I think that's a great point. And if you just look at the play call for the end of the game, there is no effing way that is the play that Billy Donovan drew up. No way. Well, absolutely no way. I mean, what is Russell Westbrook shooting from three? Like 17%?
Right. We'll set up the situation. It's 27 seconds left. They're down by 4. And even if Steph Curry maybe gets open, like wide open for 3, you take a 3 there. But the play is to attack the basket, get a quick 2, extend the game, get more possessions. That's what you do. That's how the game should be played. And you don't just jack up a 3. And he's like, well, I'm open. Well, there's a reason why you're open. Marcus Smart backed off.
It's the easiest defense the Celtics will have to play all year is on that play. Yeah. I mean, there was no hope he was drawing a foul. It was just garbage. And there's a lot to be said. And I've been on record in the last week complaining about Boston's offense and just a lot of actions to nowhere. And that was evident tonight. They hit some shots there in their little comeback. And you pointed out that they may have found something that is going to work for them with Morris at the 5. Mm-hmm. But the story of this game is Russell Westbrook really, he blew the game for Oklahoma City. They had it and he blew it.
Yeah.
And you got to start thinking, if you're Paul George, how do you feel right now?
Yeah, well, that was, again, a very strange, because he had a decision between, I guess, playing alongside Russ or playing alongside LeBron. And
how about playing anywhere? He could have gone to Philly. He would have been perfect in Philly.
Yeah.
It's not just LA or OKC. Now, with that being said, there must be some really great culture there in the locker room to get him to stay, to not even take a meeting with another team. But oh man, it's rough, man. I think ultimately Billy Donovan's going to be the one to take the blame because that's how it works. And to be fair, if you're the coach and the players aren't running what you draw up, hey, that's as much on you as it is on them.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Michael Frazier in the chat says I need a haircut. I tried my best. I really gave it the college try to like grow my hair out and make it work. And I just don't think at my age or whatever, I can't do it. So
you know what time it is, Nick?
What? Oh no, you want me to shave it? Oh geez, I'm not shaving my hair. I got like.
How about for
hair.
charity?
Come on.
How about for charity?
For charity, wow! Shave my hair for charity. Oh, let me at least get a normal cut for now and see how I feel about it. But we'll see. Maybe I'll shave my chest hair for charity or something. I don't know. But I don't want to do my hair. I like my hair. Nonetheless, he has a point, and I've tried, and it's just not working. So, who do you think is going to be the first-time All-Star this year? It's an interesting question on Twitter, and I can tell you who asked that in 1 second if I can find it. It was EKW 248. Who's gonna be? Yeah, who's most likely? It's an interesting question. I'm not even sure I have him on my head.
I mean, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, he didn't make it last year. He got kind of robbed last year.
Yeah,
right?
Ben Simmons will make it. I think Tatum's gonna have a good chance.
What about Donovan Mitchell?
We'll see. The West is stacked, so it's gonna be tough.
Joe Ingles. I think Joe Ingles. Well, he actually. I mean, he had a couple games. He was averaging like over 20 points or whatever. So that's probably not going to happen.
Joe Ingles is really good, and will likely deserve an All-Star nod, but at the same time, like it's tough, man. I think the East is where you're going to get these guys who are kind of new to the All-Star game. Again, Tatum, Simmons. Simmons is no brainer. Tatum, I think he'll have a good shot because he's going to score a lot. Mm-hmm. He seems to be the only guy who can actually score right now for Boston.
What about Middleton? Because he hasn't been an All-Star, has he?
No, Middleton's going to be for sure. Because I think Middleton's probably going to be around 24, 25 a game. Yeah.
Now, that's the thing with Jingles. He would have to get to 20 points a game, I think, for him to even get close.
That's doable for him. He just needs to, I mean, it's about usage for him. It's not about anything else.
Yeah. Well, Slippery Fish 23 asks, should Rondo and Ingram start when they get back? Interesting question. I mean, I think, they weren't doing that. Obviously, the record wasn't great when they were starting. What do you think?
No, I would keep who they have on the court. I like Kuzma out there with LeBron. Kuzma can get buckets, and that's what this team needs right now. Ingram, I just don't think is there. And, Lonzo actually makes stuff happen in a way that Rondo doesn't. He has a lot of that Rondo in him where he's scared to shoot, but, defensively, he actually gets out there and competes. He had a nice some full court pressure tonight, which normally I'm against. But with his length against Jamal Murray, he actually is causing a lot of problems. Got a nice steal and a layup right toward the end of the half. So, I would listen, man. I'm in favor of them going with the young guys. If you're going to keep them on the roster, you might as well go with them because it's not like Rondo or Lance Stevenson or JaVale McGee actually moved the needle.
Or KCP. I agree. In fact, Lonzo was picking him up full court. He got a rip and a layup. And, he had a bad turnover or two there, but he had a beautiful touch pass to LeBron. So I like the LeBron-Lonzo thing going on right now. There's some interesting, ball movement and spacing stuff going on when they're around that I like. I love Josh Hart out there with them as well. I wonder if there is a rotation that Luke can find that can play better defense than they are now. But quite honestly, I could do a video that lights up LeBron because his defense
it's been bad.
It's just bad.
I mean, we've talked about this for 2 years now.
Yeah. But it's exceptionally bad now, especially with his team. Plus, they're playing him at what he should be the small ball 5. He'd be perfect for it. But then he refuses to actually guard the other team's big man. So it's like Kuzma. It's a nightmare. And I don't blame Kuzma. It's like, what are you going to do? He's tiny.
He ended the game the other night against the Spurs guarding Bryn Forbes.
Who did? LeBron or Kuzma?
LeBron did.
Yeah, right.
Like why? It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And remember coming into this, every Laker, commentator was like, "Wow, LeBron, it's gonna be a new LeBron. He's gonna play the 5." No.
I just can't understand why LeBron doesn't see that banging down low is the key to the Lakers improving their defense. Perhaps he needs his vision checked. And you could be in the same boat with your contact lenses. That's why Simple Contacts is a total game changer for anyone who wears contacts. I can't tell you how annoying it is to watch my wife run out of her contacts and need a new prescription the day we're supposed to leave on vacation. Here's how it works. Using your phone or computer, you can take the Simple Contacts vision test in 5 minutes from literally anywhere. A real doctor reviews your test in 24 hours and writes you a new prescription, and boom, a fresh supply of your brand of lenses is on the way to your door. No more appointments, no more waiting rooms, no more overpaying. Simple Contacts brings the doctor's office to wherever you are, whenever you need it. Simple Contacts offers every brand of lenses and their prices are unbeatable. The prescription is just $20. The contact lens prices are so low and shipping is free. Best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first Simple Contacts order. To save $20 on your lenses, just go to simplecontacts.com/CoachNick20 or enter the code CoachNick20 at checkout. I want to mention that this is not a replacement for your periodic full eye health exam. You still need those occasionally, but it is the most convenient way to renew a prescription and reorder your contacts if your vision hasn't changed. Again, check out Simple Contacts and get $20 off by going to simplecontacts.com/CoachNick20 or just enter code CoachNick20 at checkout. There's an interesting question here and a comment by Vishal Awesome 12. Amin El Hassan, who is a friend of the breakdown, said that JaVale is putting up empty stats, and is he at the wrong place at the wrong time? I got to tell you, I mean, that's a pretty hot take. What I see from JaVale is great energy in the defensive end, rim protection. He is running the lane. He is getting alley-oops. He's playing fantastic. I would argue that he's been one of the best Lakers on the team so far, so I don't see that at all being empty.
I think on the offensive end, he's been okay. But, I mean, as we've seen tonight, I mean, Jokic just works him anytime he wants to.
A little bit. I saw one time he kind of backed him down way too easily and scored
yes, it's barbecue chicken whenever he wants it. I mean,
was there a foul issue with JaVale at that point? I
have no idea. So, but I can't remember.
But overall, I think JaVale's been a very big positive, and I don't see his energy. It's not like he's just lolling around out there and then getting some dump off passes for dunks. Like he is active.
Well, he runs the floor really well, right? And that's going to give you an advantage. I mean, he's so fast, which is crazy because of how big he is, but he's so fast that he actually can give you a lot of advantage, especially for a team like the Lakers that are looking to push the pace. So, I just don't think that they're getting him there enough in transition. I think that that's something, especially against a slower guy like Jokic. I think that they could really be taking advantage of that.
Right. Let's see. James Levy 1321 asks, what's the best counter schematically to shelling, a la Ben Simmons being shelled by Boston or Toronto, which I think means giving him a ton of space because he can't shoot. I actually screwed it up and I had to delete the tweet because I wrote the wrong coach in the tweet. But they were giving him Simmons and Giannis both 10 feet of room, and they were just like getting the full head of steam going downhill and just scoring or getting a little dish for a layup. You can't play it like that. You got to play him somewhat honestly to keep him from doing that. That's the adjustment. You can't back off of him that much. They're too good for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to kind of guard them straight up. You don't. I mean, maybe like arm's length, you can't let them get a full head of steam. Those guys are too long and too strong. And then you're just going to put them on the free throw line, and that's not good.
Right.
And as far as for the other angle, like what can Giannis and Ben Simmons do? I mean, I think that they're doing the right thing when they get that space, put your head down, go to the basket, and you're going to get rewarded for that type of play. Especially now, like they're actually calling that properly. I think the refs are doing a really good job of calling that contact that is initiated when the guy has a full head of steam. So often we see these guys take a lot of contact and not get the call. And I think the referees are doing a really good job early on.
Fair enough. I'm not really that happy with the referees overall. I just did a big video that people watched about the Lakers-Rockets fight and how all the reffing was so inconsistent across the board. It just led to a lot of the agita and frustration by the players that bubbled over. So that was not a bad example. But I think that they're also struggling with the impeding progress rule. I saw a foul tonight when JaVale, I think it was JaVale jumps for a rebound, like over Jamal Murray, who was just kind of standing there looking up.
And they called a foul on Murray. Yeah,
they called it on Murray. And like somebody wanted to argue with me on Twitter. I'm like, what are you talking about? The guy's allowed to just stand there and watch the ball and not get jumped on and not be a foul on him. It's crazy. So I don't know. I still see a lot of issues, I feel like, with the refereeing, and perhaps it's like the typical opening weeks, breaking it in and getting used to everybody, and then they'll settle down. I hope so.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a relationship here toward all this scoring, right? There's a lot of scoring going on the first 2 weeks of the season. What's the deal?
So the pace is up. I mean, it's pretty clear, but I think that the rule changes and the rule emphasis actually is partially responsible. First of all, the whole movement thing where you can't impede a player's movement, which by the letter of the law, they're actually calling it the right way now. And so you're getting more foul calls there, and that's obviously going to lead to a difference in like free throw shot and things like that. But then also on the offensive rebounds, having the shot clock reset to 14 seconds, you're speeding it up. Teams are getting more possessions. And that was the goal with that. So I don't think that so the pace, it feels a little nuts, but the truth is, I think that we're being tricked a little bit into how much different the pace is. It's not real. It's kind of imaginary. And I think that this is just kind of how the game looks when you're not slowed down, by dribbling out the clock at the end of games and things like that.
Fair enough. I mean, to me, I don't know how much it moves the needle at the end of the game idea. I mean, there's a couple extra possessions there. What I feel like, and I got to check some deep stats out there. I'm sure they're out there as far as how quickly are teams on the average taking the shot in the normal possession during the regular part of the game. It just seems to me that we're seeing a lot more quicker shots.
We're only like 2 or 3 extra possessions over last year.
Is that right? I thought I heard another podcast that talked about it significant, whatever it was. But I think that what the difference for me would be, or just look at it, is the time on the shot clock when the shot's taken. It just seems to me, anecdotally, by watching a few games or a lot of games here, that it's just kind of the shots are just getting jacked up quicker. I'd love to find out the numbers agree with me, but something's different. I mean, when we're seeing teams that are hitting 120, 130, every night. There's a real problem. And also the thing with the fouls you're talking about is that now defenses they're more afraid to even play any kind of defense for fear of a foul.
And that may be a real factor here.
Yeah. Get out of the way. So now what we're talking about is, okay, because remember, not fouling is a really big, stress point for most defenses, right? They don't want to foul. So you're going to end up having to get in this thing where, we're going to have to outscore them. And that puts a premium, by the way, on better shooting. So suddenly maybe a team that isn't a great defensive team is, if they could take better shots, then that's what's going to keep them in the game, I suppose. The Lakers would be the prime example of that. A team that could score a lot of points, can't stop anybody, and yet they're still here struggling to get a win.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking at the score right now, and the Nuggets are up too. So
okay, there you go. Yeah, I mean the game has started, but you know what? We're going to press on a little bit longer. What do you say? I mean, there's a timeout right now, so
sure.
Or it looks like we haven't gone. So let's keep going for a little bit while we got a lot of people in the chat now. Any other questions? We'll keep running through them. We'll just do it. This will be a general mailbag podcast. Some of our best podcasts are like that, right, Dave?
That's true. I got someone asking about 4 picks for Jimmy Butler, and I think that is absolutely wild because he could walk this summer, and Houston would have a huge tax bill. And if you're the Timberwolves, you should take that deal immediately.
Wait, what was the deal? Because I heard the rumor, but I hadn't seen the actual details.
4 first-round picks, and I'm assuming Brandon Knight for Jimmy Butler.
So
and I mean,
every other year then, I guess.
19, 21, 23, 25. Now, if you're Tom Thibodeau, it makes a lot of sense to not take that deal because that's a long-term thing, and you probably aren't going to be there that long. But if you're the Timberwolves,
and then what's the player they get back?
Brandon Knight. It's just a salary match. Yeah.
Wow. Well, here's the thing. They have Cat under contract for several more years. He's the guy you've committed to. And I don't know why they're treating him like a second-class citizen and sort of trying to kowtow to Jimmy Butler. So, yeah, it seems like Jimmy Butler, I guess, should be the guy to go. But I almost think maybe Wiggins would be the guy, but he can't be moved, right? He's the contract that can't be moved. So it's a real mess. I got to do a video on this, don't you think?
Probably. I think so.
I mean, I'm hearing all sorts of stuff like Jimmy Butler's freezing out Karl Anthony Towns, isn't passing to him at all. I feel like, and I'm sure he's angry because of the way they
it was like this. It was like this last year. Their offense completely ignores Karl Anthony Towns. Like he doesn't initiate the offense at the elbow or anything like that. So
and not a lot of pick and pops where he'd be awesome at it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's bad offense.
Yeah. It's the guy. It's the old school, like get your ass down on the block. He must feel like he's back in Kentucky.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, he does stand out top and shoot threes, but it's just not effective offense. And I mean, when you've got a tool like that, to just not use it, it really is kind of, it's a waste, man. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, here's another interesting question real quick from Neat Nug, whatever. If Kyrie does not work out, what should the Celtics do long-term at point guard? I like Rozier. I think they can continue to groom him and get him to even better heights and be a legit starting point guard.
Why wouldn't Kyrie work out?
Oh, I mean, and by the way, the thing is he's just kind of like coming back and is he rusty and sort of, not quite 100%?
Yeah, I mean, he's rusty, right? Like he's working his way back into shape too. Remember he had that knee infection, and so he's he's bouncing back from that surgery and getting himself back into shape. So, he'll be fine.
All right, but you're ruining the premise of the question, man. That was the whole point.
I'm shitting on that question. I think it's not a good question.
All right, well, Lance 972 asks, maybe it's Lance Stevenson. What is a small move the Lakers can make to help with their defense, mainly interior defense? Everybody wants a 3-and-D guy, right? There's nobody they could find, I don't think, out there that could be that guy. But interior, I'm telling you, I'm on JaVale Island.
Okay.
But, who else? I mean, Zubats doesn't seem to have enough presence down there to do anything. They can't trade anybody, I don't think, right?
Not yet.
Yeah.
No, it'll be December 15th. I think they'll be looking for buyout guys.
Yeah. I mean, and who are those? I can't even think right now of anybody who's like.
Tyson Chandler might be one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean.
Chandler and JaVale McGee.
Joakim Noah is available.
Well, I don't know if Joakim Noah is ever going to lace up his sneakers again, but if he did, he'd better use StockX, since it's the best way to get the hottest new sneakers just as they're hitting the shelves. StockX is a revolutionary new marketplace for buying or selling 100% authentic sneakers, streetwear, watches, and handbags. And here's the cool part about it. StockX uses the same principles as the stock market to make your purchases by giving you real-time market data for intelligent buying and selling. You'll see exactly how much an item has sold in the past and what it's selling for now. Best of all, StockX has removed the risk from buying and selling online. Total anonymity between buyer and seller. You'll never have to deal directly with a random buyer or seller again. StockX has experts that verify every item, making sure everything you get is 100% authentic. Visit StockX.com/CoachNick now, and you'll see what an incredible platform this is. That's StockX.com/CoachNick. Now you know. Jay Varela asks, Boogie and David Westphal, thoughts? He won't even be in David Westphal. He's going to be in a legit primary scorer off the bench or whatever he's going to be role, right? He's going to be a guy who's going to really have a much higher usage.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that Boogie's going to come back and be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree. We'll have to wait and see, but I think he's going to be great. I feel like this is the first time I've seen him on the bench, and he's just smiling, and he's happy, and he's not brooding. And I feel like this is a new experience for him to be around a good culture and a lot of winning. And I think it'll work. I think he'll get along with everybody, and it'll work really well. So, but we'll have to wait and see. It's that Brad guy wants to know, as a bald white guy, should I pursue the Dave DuFour beard look? I thought it's required if you're bald to grow a beard. Isn't that right?
Not necessarily. I mean, it really depends on your face. You got to have the strong jaw for this. You gotta.
Oh, to me, if you didn't have a strong jaw, you could hide it with the beard, isn't that part of it?
You got to be able to. Well, that's what James Harden does, right? But you got to be able to actually grow a good beard. That's important. Speaking of good beards, Keith from Fast Break Breakfast just popped into the Periscope. What's up to him? But growing a good beard, man, that's the most important part. Can you grow a nice beard?
Right. Well, the other thing is, your beard always reminds me. You know that the one meme or the one GIF where it's like the mountain man, and we slowly moving on him, and he does a quick nod.
Yes.
I think of you every time I see that. I don't know why. But
I don't know why. That guy has like
he's more like Robert Redford looking, but
he's got like Prince Valiant hair too.
Yeah, right. I just think of you every time. But let's see. A case online asks, I thought Braun would add 12 wins to this Laker team. I have doubts. You should have doubts. I don't know. 12 wins. That would be what, like 40? Well, they won 30.
They won 35.
Yeah, so 47
and by the way,
stretch.
They won 35, but they probably were like a 31 win team. Right? They weren't tanking, and they beat some tanking teams down the stretch. So they were probably a 31 win team.
How did the Bucks offense improve compared to last year? Davey Woo 629 is just teeing it up for us, giving us a softball. Dave, do you want to get this first?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they're spacing out to 3 around Giannis or whoever the ball handler is, and that's huge. So actually, they actually have driving lanes and space to operate. Chris Middleton's shooting about twice as many threes per 100 possessions as he has for his entire career. That's huge. So their offense, not only that, but guys are cutting because they have open lanes to cut through. You've got space to make those passes. It's just a modern offense now instead of whatever the hell they've been running.
Yeah, it sounds simple because it's like spacing, but that extra spacing and the way they have it positioned along the arc is really important to give those driving lanes and to give those gaps. So when you're talking about like the Van Wahlberg dribble drive motion, he talks about having gaps, and you want to have 1 gap or 2 gaps or even 3 gaps, so then you can create that space to then drive and kick. And that's what they're getting now, a lot more sort of attack on the catch. I don't see any of the high post splits anymore that they ran incessantly with Jason Kidd. And so suddenly Giannis is being able to catch the ball in the run and turn into the lane. It really is remarkable, and it's going to be it might spoil the Sixers season. They might have had hopes for get beyond whatever, but they could easily take that 3rd spot and then make it a fun ride in the playoffs.
Yeah, I've watched almost every minute of the Bucks this year, and I haven't seen them in the Hawks set once.
Yeah.
And as you and I both know, they were doing that almost every time down the court. So.
I don't mind that. I don't mind it's a set.
No, it's fine, but just repetitive, It's easy to sit on stuff, so.
Yeah. So it's interesting to find out, it must be a reflection on Jason Kidd. He just didn't seem to understand how to run other offenses or whatever, which is really bizarre because he played in the Princeton. He played in every other kind of system there was while he was there as a player. So, who knows? Maybe he just got a little maybe he thought to make it simpler, it would work better, but clearly
he also told Jabari and Giannis not to shoot threes. So,
yeah, right.
I just don't. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't know what he was doing.
Well, I have some thoughts, by the way, about the Celtics offense and what's wrong with that, because they were almost last in the offensive rating.
It's actions
today.
Actions on top of actions. Actions to nowhere.
Okay. Well, here's what I noticed.
They're not attacking the basket.
It is even a broader thing. It just feels like there's no attacking on the catch. So last year they would be able to, one dribble kick and then boom, they would split and go, and then all of a sudden they're breaking the defense down on every catch and dribble or catch and attack. And now it just feels like it's a catch and a hold and a catch and a hold. They're not really doing anything with the ball on the catch. And I wonder if that's a thing that, Stevens could just get in their practice time a little bit and just sort of go over that again with them and remind them. That might unclog some stuff. And then obviously he hasn't found the right 5-man lineups.
They've gotten their best offense out of Gordon Hayward pick and rolls, and he's coming off a broken leg. So
yeah, he doesn't look. Right?
He doesn't. He doesn't look right. But what does that tell you? That they're getting their best offense out of a guy who has no first step in the pick and roll. I just think that's there are issues there. These issues have been around. You and I talked about it a lot last year. Their offense was bad last year. Mm-hmm. And I think that they've got some serious questions to answer. Brad Stevens has some serious questions to answer. Yeah. And I'd be surprised though if the media asked him. Right. What happens is that we keep hearing, they keep missing open shots. Okay. But it's not just that. It's not just, you can't put everything off as they're missing open shots. I'm sorry.
No,
it just doesn't work that way.
ISOs are really tough long twos.
Kyrie Irving's not driving to the basket.
Yeah.
Why isn't Kyrie Irving? I know part of it is he's working his way into shape, but why aren't you creating driving lanes for one of the most creative finishers in NBA history? I think that there's some real issues.
Yeah, I'm not seeing like a pin down for him into a dribble handoff where he can catch on the run and go downhill.
They're not getting him downhill. Exactly.
Yeah,
yep.
So they need to do that. And I think it's just a question of, it's kind of like I talked to Steph Curry's trainer last week on the pod, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And I asked him, I said, are there times when like in the middle of the season you realize, wait a minute, we have like these 3 moves that are so good and you've like forgotten to use them all year long? And he goes, yeah, that happens all the time. It's almost the same with coaching. It's like they might just kind of forget, oh crap, we have these 3 sets we don't run and they're great. Let's do that. So he might need to get his thinking cap on there and just kind of get a good practice or 2 and let him remind them of what works really well or figure that out. But he's got time, so they'll be able to, hopefully, I'd imagine, get it done by midway through the year. They have about 40 games. Chris Scary 12 asks, do you think Pistons could be a playoff team this year with Blake Griffin playing really well so far? Absolutely. In the East, for sure, they look great. All of a sudden, Andre Drummond is now this guy who's like a good anchor on on their team. I never liked that much, but he's doing what he needs to do. Blake is looking good. Yeah, right. They should be able to make the playoffs.
Absolutely, and I hope that their buyers heading into the trade deadline, they really could use a guy like Kemba Walker, who probably isn't going to be available. But they could use someone like that. I don't think that there's going to be any really good point guards available. But that's
shade there.
Well, I mean, he's just not providing what they need, which is just the truth, And he's not, and to my knowledge, he's not going to, right? Like unless he becomes a different player. Right now, Blake Griffin is the point guard, and he's been fantastic at it.
Well, hey,
and not to mention, he's rebounding the way he did his first couple years in the league, and so that's a Dwayne Casey thing, Dwayne Casey gets a lot of crap, and we gave him a lot of credit last year for the job he did with Toronto and kind of remaking them. But he has come into Detroit and already kind of reset the culture, and they're playing a lot of bully ball with Blake and Drummond, and they are rebounding the hell out of the ball. And I mean, I think that can't be overlooked. I mean, they're playing. It's going to look like a more old school style, but it's got like a new school flavor because of Blake at the point and hitting those pull up threes, which is just huge.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Let's finish up on a little end note here with a couple last questions really quickly because everyone wants to get back to the game, I imagine. I think. Let's see. Thoughts on Trae Young and Doncic? And that is asked by Really O'Dorp. Doncic has looked fantastic. Trae Young he looked good in the game I watched the Hawks versus the Mavericks. He looked good. He had a really great finish on a clutch play on a drive. Did you see that, by the way, where I think Wes Matthews was trying to talk some trash and be physical with him? And then he got fouled, and when he made the first free throw, he wanted to give a high five to Wes, who wasn't having it.
I think like most rookies, they both have been up and down. Doncic looked good in the start of that game and then looked bad in the second half. Yeah. And then it was the opposite for Trae. Trae looked great to close the game. And you can tell he's really worked on finishing through contact and things like that. And that's going to be huge for his game. But the truth is, I mean, Doncic looks like the guy we kind of expected him to. And I think a lot of his issues are conditioning based, and he'll get there, especially in Dallas. And with Trae, it's going to be more speed of the game and kind of like building chemistry with his teammates because, his ability to make the pass. I mean, we saw that pass he threw to Taurean Prince where Prince wasn't even looking. He saw that Prince was going to be open for 3 before Prince even knew it. And so that kind of stuff, as he's building up, rapport with his teammates, I think we're going to see more and more of that. Both of these guys are going to be special, and it's fun.
And just remember that Taurean Prince, he still somehow caught the ball and made the shot after all of that, but it was a perfectly timed pass. Almost like he knew, he wasn't looking, but he floated it enough where he can get enough time to catch his attention. So there's no
Taurean Prince, hey, he's one of my Danny Green All-Stars for a reason.
Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. He's on my Kent Bazemore team of guys I can't stand watching.
Oh, no.
His footwork was like, and I don't watch. I haven't seen a lot of Taurean Prince for whatever reason, but that game, his footwork was really off. He just didn't. He wasn't. Maybe it was just a bad game for him, but it was really frustrating to watch on a lot of levels for him. But hopefully he straightens that out and is better than he was. All right, let's get to our last question. Do you want to talk about the Knicks for 1 second?
Sure.
All right, because we have. Chris Persian in one asks, quick thoughts on New York. Should they trade Hardaway, Knox's ceiling? The one thing I want to say about Knox, and we were doing some stuff on Twitter with the video with me and B-Biomechanics, he's got such bad knee valgus where his knees almost collapse and knock into each other. I'm really worried that that's going to ultimately be a problem with him because it's so common and so often.
KD has that.
This is worse than KD. This is really bad. Now KD does it, when he's on his jump shot, but not when he's running. Like we saw him sprain his ankle, and it was almost like the same kind of thing. Like I don't know. So I'm worried about him on that end. But he's tough. He's aggressive. I like that, but I don't know. I'm definitely have some doubts about Knox being a legit guy.
Well, I would say after this ankle injury, we have to reserve judgment until next season. As you know, I'm a proponent of the ankle injury killing seasons. Oh. I think an early ankle injury just sets you up for failure for the rest of the year. If he's back in 4 weeks, it's going to be too soon, right? You basically double the length of time it takes to heal, and that's sitting out and not coming back and trying to do basketball activities. And then the stability and the explosiveness just isn't back. It will not be back until probably, I would say, summer. This has just been my experience personally, my experience working with players, and then from watching guys try to come back from ankle injuries. I mean, look at Steph Curry last year, had the early ankle injury, led to the knee injury, led to another ankle injury. And it just seems like this is kind of the path for these guys. So one, I would say, when he comes back, we still have to reserve judgment. And he's a rookie anyway, so we should be. But I think he's going to be fine eventually. I do think he's a guy that's going to benefit when they get some better players around him. So when Porzingis comes back and, you can use his gravity a little bit, Knox is going to get open shots. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been really good so far this season.
There's going to be a lot of people calling for his to try and trade for him at the deadline, I would imagine. I
mean, if you could get him like on the Pelicans, that would be huge for them because they could really use a guy on the wing like him who can just run up and down the court, score, and at least hold up on defense. But if they get KD or somebody like that this summer, they've got a good little start going. It's all about the development of Ntilikina and how Porzingis comes back healthy. So I don't think the Knicks are in bad shape. They're going to have cap space. So, let's see if they can actually pull it together in the front office and get something done. But I'm not worried about Knox. I think he's going to be fine.
Okay. No, good stuff. And, great show. Who knew we would have such a rollicking good time covering so many different subjects. Well, actually,
this late at night.
We did know because whenever we do it and we get great questions in the chat, we always have a great show. So, Dave, thanks for staying up later for us. It's only 9:30 for me, but I want to get back to the game. But, have sweet dreams.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, I'm going to finish this game.
Okay. Well, maybe we're up in bed, a little Chianti.
Fourth quarter now.
All right, great. Well, awesome stuff. We'll talk to you really soon. And if you want to listen to this, we'll be on the podcast at ASAP. So don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Dave?
Yes, I am.